Thank you for purchasing a SmartCap for your F-150. This video is designed to help you properly assemble and install your new SmartCap, ensuring a tight fit and the ultimate in performance. Please carefully follow these instructions to avoid damage to the cap or your truck. As you'll see, assembly is quite simple. You will need to have an 8mm socket wrench, a 13mm socket wrench, combination wrench, and torque wrench, scissors, a plastic pry tool or flathead screwdriver, and a cable puller. Given the size and weight of the SmartCap panels, we recommend 2 people assemble the cap. You should have received 2 large boxes. Please open both boxes and inspect the panel's painted surfaces. Once complete, place the panels back in their box. If any manufacturing imperfections or shipping damage are found, stop the assembly process and contact us at support.na@smartcap.com. We'll get you taken care of. Open the fitment kit and scan the QR code with your mobile phone. The SmartCap Mobile Installation Guide gives you step-by-step video instructions that are also supported by illustrations. Take the thin roof panel box and place it on the floor with the SmartCap logo facing up. Take the top lid off and lay it upside down, directly beside the bottom of the box. It'll make for a great soft landing when setting panels down throughout the assembly process. Now, let's remove the plastic to reveal the roof panel. Go ahead and leave the roof panel in its box, as we will assemble the cap with the box beneath it. This will protect it from getting scratched during assembly. Remove the lock nuts and fender washers attached to the roof panel and set them aside. Now, remove the right-hand side panel from the main box. You will notice one end of the panel is slanted. Place that end towards the air vent on the roof panel. Insert the tabs on the top of the side panel into the slots on the roof panel. You may need to gently tap it into place, ensuring a minimal gap between the 2 panels. Once the side panel is correctly inserted, attach the fender washers and lock nuts and hand tighten to secure the panel in place. To avoid scratching the paint on the surface of the SmartCap, insert the fender washers with the smooth rounded side down. Once you have completed the right panel, follow the same procedure to attach the left side panel. Remove the fastener block hardware from the fitment kit, disassemble, and set aside. Next, take the front flange out of its packaging. Line it up with the roof panel, ensuring they are flush with one another and taking care to not damage the gasket on the flange. Using this diagram and the fastener hardware in the fitment kit, follow the order of installation of the fasteners. Starting in the middle, insert the fasteners and hand tighten a fastener block and clamp, a load spreader plate, a lock washer, and an M6 bolt to each fastener. The bolt head should be oriented to the inside of the cap to allow clearance for your socket or box wrench. Please note, you may need to raise each of the side panels to help align the front flange and properly insert the fastening clips. Also, don't be surprised if the corner fasteners are a bit difficult to insert. Now, let's do the same thing with the rear flange. Remember to follow our suggested order in which you install the fasteners. Once both the front and rear flanges are securely in place, it's time to tighten everything up. Following the same order from the supplied diagram you used to install the fasteners, we recommend you torque each of the bolts to 6 to 12 Newton meters, or 4.4 foot-pounds. Start with the front and rear flanges. Following the same order from the supplied diagram you used to install the fasteners, we recommend you torque each of the bolts to 6 to 12 Newton meters, or 4.4 foot-pounds. However, it is very important that you do not over-tighten these bolts. Now, with the cap sides and flanges attached to the roof, it's time to install the D-rubber gasket. First, let's clean the top of the surface with alcohol. Next, make sure the end of the D-rubber gasket has a clean cut on it. If it doesn't, take scissors and cut the end squarely. Starting on the right-hand side of the rear flange, position the gasket so that the rubber lip faces the outside edges of the SmartCap. Insert the D-rubber into the tab located next to the rear door gasket so that the D-rubber lightly rubs up against it. You will want to line up the D-rubber about 1/8 of an inch from the outer edge and work your way around the entire bottom edge of the cap. Avoid kinking the gasket in the corners. When you get to the end, there will be extra D-rubber. Line up the D-rubber so that it will fit over the left side tab. Using your scissors, squarely trim the end off. That concludes the assembly process for the SmartCap. Now it's time to install it on your vehicle. You will need to have a 13mm socket wrench, combination wrench, and torque wrench to install the cap. First, take the thick rubber pads out of the fitment kit. Remove the adhesive backing and place the pads on the inside of the D-rubber at the indicated locations. Taking the seal tape, let's level the front bulkhead panel to the side bed rails. To ensure the tape has good adhesion to the bed rail, clean the front rail. Peel off the adhesive back from the seal tape. Starting on one side, apply the tape, ensuring there's no gap between the front panel and side rails. When you reach the other end, squarely trim the end with scissors and discard the excess tape. Next, it's time to put the fully assembled SmartCap on your truck. Given its size and weight, we recommend a minimum of 4 people help you pick it up and place it on your truck. Walk the cap into position and then set it down. To ensure you don't dislodge your D-rubber, avoid sliding the cap across the truck's bed rails. Once the cap is correctly in place and centered on the truck bed rails, it's time to install the C-clamps. First, to protect the top surface of the SmartCap, we will place thin rubber pads that you can clamp to. Place the thin pads in the rear corners and next to the gussets on both sides of the cap. Once the pads are inserted, install the C-clamp and hand tighten. Once all have been installed, you can torque each of the bolts to 6 Newton-meters or 4.4 foot-pounds. To wire up the third brake light, we've provided both a T-harness and a body harness. Located behind the driver's side kick panel is a single square 14-pin male connector. Take the T-harness and connect the corresponding 14-pin female connector. Run the T-harness behind the driver's side carpet towards the center console. Using an 8mm socket wrench, remove the bolt and pull the right panel out. Feed the harness through the rear opening. Now, go to the passenger side, remove the panel, and fish the harness through. Continue to run the harness behind the passenger side carpet until you reach the fuse box. Open the box, locate, and carefully remove the 5-amp fuse from slot 30 in the fuse panel. Take the 5-amp fuse and plug it into the end connector on the power harness. Then, plug the connector from the power harness into the slot 30 socket on the fuse panel. Now, it's time to route the main harness. Unclip the driver's side threshold molding and lift the carpet up until you see a small floor grommet. Route the rectangular 2-pin connection through the floor grommet and pull most of the harness through it. Then, take the triangular-shaped 3-pin male connector and plug it into the corresponding female connector on the T-harness you initially installed. Tuck the remaining into the trim and carpet until it is completely hidden. Then push any remaining cable through the grommet and reinstall the threshold molding. Next, feed the cable along the underside of the truck back to the rear. When you reach the wheel well, feed the cable above the wheel well until it comes out the other side. Once you have all of the cable through, go back and cleanly zip tie it along the underside of the truck. Find the third brake light extension that should be hanging on the rear left side of your SmartCap and unhook it. Note, you can discard it as it won't be needed. Next, remove the left tail light and set it aside. This will give you access to feed the main harness up through the tail light cavity and through a small hole on the bedpost. Pull enough cable through to allow you to connect it to the third brake light connector. Secure the main harness to the bedpost and push any excess cable back through the hole into the tail light cavity. Bundle the extra T-harness length, zip tie it up, and place it in the tail light cavity. Then you can reinstall the tail light assembly. There you have it. Your SmartCap is now fully installed and ready for action. Should you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact us. Visit smartcap.com for more information.